Remember, folks, I'm just a Muppet in a chair. Don't take me seriously. Welcome back, Boomerites. How's everybody doing? I'm King Boomer, and I've got a little love bug that I've been growing for the past few months. I'm happy to say that I started working out again. It's the beginning is always rough, but it is happening. I made it my New Year's resolution to do something about this. And it's also, I got a broken chair, so it kind of pushes out my gut a little more. So it kind of looks bigger when it's on camera, but not to make excuses. But I'm trying to get rid of it now. Made it my New Year's resolution to get back in the gym. So, and it's not even New Year's yet, so I've already got a head start. So if you start seeing this disappearing a little bit, it means I'm doing a decent job. If it starts growing even more, it means I'm doing a terrible job. If it stays the same, it means I'm doing something, but I guess I got to change something else. So we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. I hope you had a good Christmas, and wish you guys the best year possible for 2024. Now, this reaction video that I'm going to start off with it's kind of a fact-finding mission here. I've known who James Corden was because he did a late-night talk show here in the States. Other than that, I don't know much about him at all. He also did that Carpool Karaoke thing, which I've never watched any of that, but maybe he did that on the late night talk show as well. So I'm aware of him, but I've always been puzzled as to why he seems to garner so much hate. People seem to really, really dislike this guy. Maybe there's some fans of him still out there somewhere, but it's always puzzled me. It's kind of like, maybe this isn't a good comparison, but Nickelback, the band, or everybody seems to hate Nickelback, and I've never cared for the music, but I'm like, why does everybody hate Nickelback? It's just such a strange thing, and it could be a plethora of reasons that I just don't know about. But I'm going to watch this video. This is by Sunny V2. He's got a lot of subscribers. This video has 11 million views in a year. I have like a couple videos, reaction videos, that are creeping up to a million, but they're almost 2 years old. So Sunny V is doing some work. Very successful channel. But I'm gonna react to this channel. I just typed in the search feed, and I'm looking at it right now. It says, "Why does everyone hate James Corden?" So hopefully this video can shed some light as to why people dislike this guy so much. So, and of course, I'd love to read the comments as to why he's got such a bad reputation. But it is puzzling, so I want to try to find out. Maybe one video about it is not the best way to do it, but I'm going to try. So, like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want. Check the notification bell. That way you're stayed up to date on the channel. But let's get into Sunny V's video, how James Corden destroyed his reputation. I'm very curious. All right? Now let's check it out. And also, you know, it might be people hate him so much that as soon as they see this video, they don't even click on it. But I'm going to try to figure out why this guy has garnered so much hate. Here we go.
James Corden has slowly developed one of the worst reputations in media history, and the foundation for his decline began when people started to realize that James Corden was a completely different person when he wasn't on camera. As an actor and the main host of The Late Late Show, James presents as a happy, polite, easygoing comedian whose goal is to simply make the audience laugh, although there's a mountain of evidence showing that in his private life he's the exact opposite to this, with his rude nature developing after he first became famous back in 2008. As a result of his excellent performance on a British TV show called Gavin and Stacey, James would win the British equivalent of an Oscar, although accompanying this award was an ego boost that began to get out of control.
Just a quick pause. Gavin and Stacey is one of the most recommended shows that people have said I have to react to. I don't know. When it comes to shows, though, new shows that I haven't done yet, because I'm doing so many right now, whether it's here on YouTube or on the Patreon, it's going to take me a while to get around to it. But Gavin and Stacey is way up there in the recommendation list, so it might be in the near future. I'm not sure, but so don't hold me to that. But I am well aware of Gavin and Stacey, and I'm excited to react to it when I get around to it.
You can start to think you're perhaps a bit more of a dude than you really are. And that very much happened to me. You know, I had a swagger in my walk.
As mentioned, James Corden's sudden explosion into fame led him to believe that he was more of a dude than he really was, which would eventually translate into him treating everyone around him like garbage. James explained that as 2008 wore on, it got so bad I was being rude to my agent, and I even started being rude to Ruth. If I was in company and the conversation wasn't revolving around me, I would just switch off. In addition to being rude to everyone around him, Corden began to live a typically irresponsible, newly famous lifestyle.
I'd started going out quite a lot. This door had opened to this world that I thought looked like fun, where people go, you're amazing, you're great, can I have a photo? Do you want a drink? Come out with us. And so you just end up on this path of just 3 a.m. cab rides with people you don't know, heading across London to someone's house who you don't know either, with a group of people who think it's amazing that you're there. This is an intoxicating thing to be part of.
All of which being...
That's interesting. Two things there. One, it seems he's aware of how, if he was acting like a dick, it seems he's aware of it, and being self-aware is very important, so you got to give him credit for that, if it's true. But that second part, I guess that was, hopefully that wasn't some chat GPT thing reading that in a James Corden voice or something. But that second part, he said it was intoxicating, like, you know, going around with strangers and being invited to all these places. It doesn't seem appealing to me. Maybe it's because I'm older now and, you know, I have responsibilities and I have a fiance and a child, but that kind of life doesn't seem appealing to me. Maybe 10 years ago when I was single and a lot crazier, but that type of lifestyle just doesn't seem appealing to me right now.
Being noticed by another Gavin and Stacey actor, Rob Brydon, who explained that when he first met James Corden 6 years prior, he was very impressed by him, yet after winning the Oscar award, James Corden was on a roller coaster. This boy from High Wycombe, and he's suddenly enjoying the fruits of his success, and he just lost his way for a bit. He was burning the candle at both ends and becoming ratty and irritable. James Corden claimed that his streak of irresponsibility came to an end after attending 18 months of therapy, although even after this, there were still countless examples of him treating people like garbage. For example, James Corden stated in a BBC4 interview that he needed to bully his way to the top of the media world, which can be observed in certain events such as the time he get into a public argument with another incredibly respected actor, Patrick Stewart, whilst on stage.
No!
When the
No! Do not! No. Okay, I fucking love Patrick Stewart. Please, oh my god. I don't know if my brain can handle this. I love Patrick Stewart. My favorite Patrick Stewart moment of all time. You MFers are gonna kill all my lilies. If you guys haven't seen that clip, look it up.
presenters are up here, and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets, looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here.
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, sir. And if it looked like that, I'm so sorry. But when you come up and present an award, just get on with it.
After Patrick Stewart would confront James about looking disinterested during the presentation, the argument would escalate in front of everyone.
Sorry, I'm waiting for the punchline. Go on. No, seriously, go
Oh
on.
shit.
Okay.
No, go on. You can see my belly, and we can all see you dying right now. Let's go for it. Here we go.
Which was concluded by James and Patrick bickering in the background while someone else was talking on the microphone. Now, to cut James some slack, Patrick Stewart was probably in the wrong here, considering he was the person who began the argument. Interestingly, after James Corden gave him a very favourable introduction.
What was really confusing about it was I gave him like a massive intro.
Yeah, I know.
I said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an actor who's held in such high esteem. Please welcome the brilliant Sir Patrick Stewart. And then he came up and did that.
Although James still decided to engage and clap back with a few jabs of his own, so it's safe to say that he also had some degree of responsibility.
See, when James said his first retort to Patrick Stewart, I was like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. But then he interjected again and kept pressing it. That's when it's like, all right, stop being a dick. You know what I mean? But that first exchange, and I was going to say, like, it looked like Patrick Stewart started it, and I love Patrick Stewart, but, you know, everybody has their bad days, so maybe Patrick Stewart had a bad day at the beginning, and then James retorted, but then he kept interjecting and wouldn't let it go. Just let it go.
There are other examples of similar situations where James has acted rudely, however, only after being provoked by someone else first. Countless paparazzi videos show James walking through Los Angeles looking quite angry and disinterested, although having a camera involuntarily shoved into your face probably doesn't facilitate the best environment for a good mood. There was also the time when Ant and Dec played a prank on James Corden, attempting to make him late for work, although considering they were literally going out of their way to make him angry, James probably gets another pass here. However, when James Corden would post one of the most brutal Reddit Ask Me Anythings in internet history, 3 fan interactions were highlighted, which James had absolutely no excuse for. Hey James, you won't remember me, but me and my friend sat at a table next to you and Harry Styles plus some others in Manchurian Legends in London's Chinatown about 6 years ago. We didn't bother you, but you were a massively entitled dick who yelled and treated the waitstaff like shit, and when one of my party politely suggested you calm down, you got really aggressive and threatening. So my question is this: why did Harry seem so
Wait a minute, why didn't he read that part? Look at this part, the highlighted part, in a chubby way, like a boozy panda. Why didn't he read that part? That's the funniest part. I look like a chubby panda right now. That's the funniest part, man.
Entitled dick who yelled and treated the waitstaff like shit, and when one of my party politely suggested you calm down, you got really aggressive and threatening. So my question is this: why did Harry seem so cool while you were such a massive throbbing bellend? This post was followed by another which read, I went to a James Corden live recording a while back. He had nearly zero interaction with the audience before/after the show, and was on his phone entirely during commercial breaks. I guess that's his prerogative. He may have been having a bad day. I also realize it must be difficult to be on all the time, but I remember being extremely disappointed. By comparison, I've been to a Jimmy Fallon recording and a Letterman recording, and I can say with full conviction that those guys really seemed like they cared about their audience and worked their hardest to entertain them, even while the cameras weren't recording, which was followed by one final anecdote reading, massive dick in person. I saw a League of Their Own filming live, through multiple tantrums over minor things at the production staff, with him being incredibly rude to them, which made the other regulars seem very awkward like it was usual. Between each take, the other celebs would be chatting amongst themselves, bantering about. James was glued to his phone. At the end of the filming, people got up to go get pictures with James, and he massively kicked off shouting at people to go away and go back to their seats, and the few he did let have pictures with, he was moody as. Seeing him like that made me realize everything you see of his on TV is a complete persona. When continuing on
Wait, I want to read this because he didn't read this part. James came in for a brief moment. Someone asked politely, asked for a quick picture. He abruptly said later, and then fucked off to, I'm guessing, his changing room for the rest of the night.
through the AMA, it becomes pretty obvious as to why James Corden only answered 3 different questions before calling it quits. Why are you, James, such a deeply unpleasant person? Did your parents raise you that way? Have you ever considered being funny or likable? James, are you aware that everyone thinks you're a hack and a talentless asshat? With his 3rd comment here relating to the next reason behind James Corden's decline. Many of his on-screen performances have simply been terrible. A petition requesting that James Corden not be cast in Wicked the movie gained close to 110,000 signatures, and after friends announced that James Corden would be hosting the TV show's 15-year reunion, he'd received Twitter responses such as, "Don't get me wrong, I've been wanting a Friends reunion since 2004, but if someone told me James Corden would be in it, I'd have told them not to bother." James Corden adding the Friends reunion to the list of things he's ruined with his mere presence. Additionally, after starring as the main character in the 2019 film Cats, the movie received a 2.8 out of 10 star rating on IMDb, as well as reviews so awful that James Corden didn't even end up watching the movie himself. However, James stating that he didn't watch the movie wasn't the only thing that was interesting about this interview.
That's something though, that a lot of, and I've seen it, Johnny Depp's one of the guys like that. There's a lot of actors out there that don't watch their own movies because they can't stand watching themselves. I don't, the times where I, even in my own reaction videos, not that I don't even compare to these people, but I'm just a humble Muppet in a chair. But even when I'm editing reaction videos and stuff and I have to look at myself on camera, I don't like looking at myself on camera. It could be this, but it's just one of those things where I can't look, even if it's like I know there's a particular point in my own reaction video that I like, especially like the banner between me and Queen Boomer. Like I still have a hard time watching it, even when I think it's funny that what we said to each other in that particular exchange. But the point being, there's a lot of people who don't enjoy watching themselves on camera, so that is not a big deal to me.
As he'd also discussed another topic which had turned much of his audience against him, his beef with another talk show host, Bill Maher. In September of 2019, Bill Maher published an editorial about obesity, with the contents of such being discussed on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Look, you can't keep eating as much as you want and as shitty a food as you want. You just can't.
That is not something that anybody wants to hear, though.
People loved it until James Corden said something.
As mentioned, James
he
Corden
called him
wasn't
out by
too happy
name.
with these comments and would call Bill Maher out by making both some reasonable arguments.
If making fun of fat people made them lose weight, there'd be no fat kids in schools, and I'd have a six-pack by now.
As well as some awful ones, such as a zero personal responsibility statement that Bill Maher was simply lucky to have a body that burned more calories than him.
We're not all as lucky as Bill Maher, you know? We don't all have a sense of superiority that burns 35,000 calories a day.
Which Bill interpreted as the easy, low-risk way out of the argument.
He missed a great opportunity to literally save lives. He took the easy way out. Of course, you can always get applause for saying, oh, let's boo the mean man who's told the truth. That's not brave.
As is usually the case with these kinds of topics, there were supporters for both sides of the argument. However, James unnecessarily forcing himself into such a divisive conversation where people already disagree with him was probably a net negative toward his reputation.
It's probably a good video to do a reaction to for a Muppet like me who's trying to lose weight, right? But yeah, there's conflicting lifestyle views going back and forth. But it's crazy that them two, because I watch Bill Maher's show from time to time. Again, I'm not a left-leaning person. I'm not a right-leaning person. I like when I try to get the minimal amount of news that I can, because it's so depressing and everybody's fucking screaming at each other. But I like to hear all sides to figure out, you know, where I stand on some of these things. You know, that's as far as I'm going to go politically in this reaction anyway.
Just like the time his Carpool Karaoke was outed for being fake. The segment during which James Corden drives around singing songs with various famous musicians was called out by a user on Twitter in early 2020 after they noticed Justin Bieber and James Corden in a car, which wasn't being driven but rather being pulled on a trailer. The video would rack up over 14 million views, which prompted an incredibly hilarious response from James Corden himself, in which he would go ahead and debunk the claim that the series had been faked.
95% of the time, I really am endangering the lives of the world's biggest pop stars. Here is a list of every Carpool Karaoke where I've used a tow, and this is a list of every one where I was driving the car, okay?
However, while Corden did a pretty good job of debunking these claims, there are still countless comments on every Carpool Karaoke from people who never saw the debunk calling the videos fake. This all feels so fake when you know he's not actually driving. Fake news, James isn't actually driving. James Corden, stop cheating people with your Carpool Karaoke. Can't believe all these celebrities put up with this fake show. Next time at least drive the damn car. It seems like even when James Corden is in the right, his audience selectively decides that he's still in the wrong, which has also been speculated as part of the reason behind his recent announcement that he's leaving the public spotlight. On the 29th of April 2022, James Corden would upload a video to his YouTube channel titled James Corden Discusses His Late Night Future, in which he'd announced that he'd only be hosting the show for one more year.
I've decided to sign for one more year on the show, and that this will be my last year hosting the Late Late Show.
In a different interview, James Corden specified that his motive for leaving the entertainment industry was to spend more time with his family.
I don't want to do it forever.
good
We're
reason.
a really long way away from home, and we're a really long way away from people who are getting older, and we're a really long way from them if something should ever happen, and that plays on my mind a lot.
However, many have speculated that being such a disliked celebrity has put an unbearable amount of pressure on him, which becomes especially obvious when looking at the comments regarding his retirement. James Corden is a talentless bag of garbage. Goodbye, good riddance. Finally, we don't want him anymore. Ruins everything he's involved in. Probably one of the most annoying people in the business, it seems. Please don't come back to the UK. Please don't come back to the UK. Please don't come back to the UK. With each of these comments being accompanied by flattering articles such as, farewell James Corden, you were an asshole.
Oh, is that it? Okay. All right. Well, people seem to not like this guy. Here's my thing. there were. Me personally, I don't get Goo-Gah over celebrities at all. There's certain celebrities that I like. Usually the ones that have shown that they're very good at what they do. You know, the ones that are extremely talented. But even so, I never, you know, to use a wrestling term, I never mark out for celebrities. Whenever I see them in person, and I have seen them in person, when I used to work in the casino industry, I used to see famous people a lot. But one of the worst things you could do when you're working in that industry is interact with them and act like you're, you know, go out of your way to try to talk to them. You would get fired pretty quick. But even when they were around, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I move on to whatever I was doing. So it seems like a lot of people are getting enraged, are just looking for excuses to get enraged over him. I don't know. But judging from some of the things that he said in the beginning of the video, it seems like it did get to his head. Which, you hate to see that with anybody. But it seems that's like a reputation where when somebody acquires a reputation of being, you know, a dickhead and letting fame or fortune or whatever type of success that comes their way get to their head, it even if they reform and become a better person and down the road they're not like that anymore, the stigma never seems to leave them, is what I'm trying to say. That stink will never leave their person. You know, they will always have people saying, like, oh, you know, you were a dickhead 20 years ago, and you're probably a dickhead now, so fuck you. That kind of thing. That's what I feel like is going on here. But I'm interested to read the comments after this video of why people seem to dislike it. Maybe there's some people out there who will pop in the comment section and start defending him. That'd be interesting to read too, because, you know, again, this was just a fact-finding thing. I want to know why people tend to hate this guy. Some of the stuff was funny, and I was laughing. You know, there were times where I was laughing at James Corden's expense, and there were times where I was laughing at the people who were enraged at him because it was so ridiculous. You know, that one guy, please never come back to the UK. So you guys want to push him on us still? Because it seems like he's leaving here as well. I don't know. I don't know what he's currently up to, but... and maybe, you know, I don't think he'll ever get around to watching this, but... James, if you're watching this, I don't know what you did, but... down the road when I get around to watching Gavin and Stacey, I hope you did a good job in that show. You know, because maybe there wasn't a lot of hate for you back then. But anyway, let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want. Check out Sunny V2's channel. It looks like he's got a very well put together channel and a well-deserved 3 million plus subscriptions. So check him out as well. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the reaction, and I'll see you guys again soon. Peace out.